If you don't know how to make Dancefloor DMB, stay with me because this video is for you. Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Changing Faces. In this video, I'll show you how I made my latest track Escape. I'll explain how the idea came together, and yeah, hopefully you will learn something new. So the main idea started with a melody that was playing in my head when I was in a bed actually. And what I like to do is that I like to record a lot of ideas to my phone. Like I like to hum the melody, or sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night and then I just go to my computer and I try to make the melody. And I believe this is the final version, but it was sounding a little bit different before. So eventually what I do is that I try to recreate the melody from my head or from my recording, and then I kind of like keep listening to it and adjusting it and trying to see what works the most. Anyway, this is how it sounds. So when I had this, I started with bassline. So usually when I make tracks, I used to have like sort of like an atmosphere or something like that that gives me the vibe, and then I write the bass notes over it, so like a root notes. But when it comes to these Dancefloor DMB tracks, it sometimes starts like this. Anyway, when it comes to the whole idea, I think we can already cover the lead pattern. So I already played the melody, and you can see I have quite a lot of layers here. One layer is completely mono, and it's just a saw wave with like a really small release and small sustain. It looks a little bit like a pluck shape, but yeah, as you can also see when I open the piano roll, the notes are kind of like short. They are not really sustained. So this is the clean lead, the mono layer. And then bunch of other layers. Honestly, I think these are all just some presets. I like to use a lot of presets and a lot of samples. So yeah, I think like most of these are based on saw waves. This one is actually square with a little bit of a second layer of a dirty saw, but when you play them all together, you can really hear the character of the saw, but with a little bit of the square lead as well. So again, once I had this melody, I believe then I made the bass notes. So when it comes to the bass, I also have a lot of layers here. We can jump into the main one, which is basically this one. So this one, I like to call it talking bass because it talks a little, and the reason why it talks is because of the filter. Again, it's a combination of saw waves, and it sounds like this. So yeah, this was the main idea. When I was making it, I didn't have these small little notes there before. This is something that I add later in the writing, because yeah, this kind of like a little notes can make the bass more interesting, and it's also filling up nicely some spaces, and it just works well with the lead as well. As you can see, I have kind of like a repetitive melody here, same with the lead. So this is mainly because it's easy to remember, and yeah, so I like to write really non-complicated things when it comes to my music and my ideas. I like to make something that's, as I said, easy to remember, and it's easy to sing, and yeah, I just really don't like to overcomplicate stuff. So yeah, you can see like I have the same melody for 3 times, and then it's a little bit different at the end of the 16 bar. And when we go back to the lead, you can see that it's almost the same. So yeah, this is actually like variation A, then we have a B section, then we have the A section back, and then we have like another section with little change here. I think the G here and A here is the same as in the mid bass. But yeah, anyway, this is how the lead with the mid bass sounds together. Actually, I need to turn on the automation clips. This happens to me all the time. Yeah, so it goes like dun dun, so it's like matching the bass is matching the lead melody as well. Other than the mid bass, the talking bass, I have there that kind of like a classic Icon has kick sub-focus solar system bass, which is this one. It has an extra distortion on it, and yeah, so together they're kind of like filling up each other nicely, and the mid bass lines are giving the track kind of like a more powerful vibe, because if I just use the sub bass, it wouldn't be that powerful, it would be boring. So you kind of really want to add some kind of movement to the bass lines, so it can either be just that sub-focus bass, I mean I call it sub-focus bass, that's kind of like Icon has kick bass, or it can be like a bass steps or something like that, or kind of like a talking bass like this, or you can even like do a combination, or you can do anything really, just like as long as you mess around with the filter maybe, or with the LFO here, like you can shape it in a ton of ways. So yeah, sub bass is obviously the same than the other bass lines, and it's just a pure sine wave. I think sometimes I add like an extra harmony here to make it like a little bit more powerful. You could do this with a distortion as well, but yeah, this time it's like without any extra voices, and it's just a pure sine wave. So together with the rest of the bass lines and with the lead, it sounds like this. So when I had the main idea down, and by main idea I mean the lead and the bass line and so on, I made like a 16 bar, basically a drop. And usually I either use the main part with the lead for 2 times, so 2 16 bars, and then it jumps into like a B section with no lead. But sometimes I do like a different arrangement. So it's either the first option or it's the second option, which is also in this track. So we have 1 16 bar, the lead section, and then we have a section without the lead with also a vocal, and then we have a section with the lead again. Anyway, reason why I'm saying this is that I usually try to make the whole track based on the drop idea, which means that I start with the drop most of the time. So when I had the drop, I think I was I was trying to come up with something for the second part, for the second drop, I mean second 16 bar, and this is what I had there. So I removed the lead and I wanted to fill it up a little bit. So I have there like a pluck that's kind of like really repetitive, and it sounds like this. So again, 3 times the same, and then later on it's kind of like going higher. Even these small changes are gonna give you a lot of difference, and it's not gonna be that boring. So this is the vocal that's playing there as well, and I also added some kind of like a vocal shot. I think it's just some synth, but I call it vocal shot because it sounds like a vocal shot. So this track is A minor, by the way, so it's just like a note for the whole 16 bar. It's just like a one shot basically, but it's giving it a little bit of a nice feel for the atmospheres. And yeah, I have some other atmospheres here as well. I will also cover.
Find a way to leave. All you do is cheat. I can take the pain. I wonder if you regret it all. Every word you say brought me miles away. Find a way to leave. All you do is cheat. I can take the pain. You told me lies and I took them all. Like a sweet mistake. Now I'm lost in space.
So yeah, basically it's kind of like bringing it a little bit more of alive, the plug, and it's also a little bit in the background, so it's not interrupting the vocal. So yeah, because like without the plug it would be kind of like, you know, like a little bit boring, I think.
Find a way to leave. All you do is cheat. I can take the pain. I wonder if you regret it all. Every word you say brought me miles away.
And also another thing, as you can see, the little bass notes I was talking about before, like the little short variations, you can see that there's like a space here, and it's like really working well with the vocal. So yeah, it's like filling the gaps, and everything is just like working so well together. So yeah, and speaking of the vocal atmospheres, I think this is just a little bit of the vocal that's looped, and it sounds like this. So it's going like lost in space, and it's like a space, 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 space. And yeah, this is a really common technique how to make it a little bit less boring, and it's filling the track nicely. Alongside that, I have there the vocal shot, or I mean the vocal shot synth. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this section. Later on in the second drop, other than the vocal shot, I also have here this, which is, I think, just some kind of like a vocal sample and a piece of it. Yeah, like a nice airy atmosphere. So once I had the drop, I moved to make an intro, which is the least favorite thing I like to do, but yeah, anyway. So I usually try to kind of like pretty much introduce the main elements already. I'm gonna mute the vocal for now, and we'll go back to it later. By the way, sorry if it's this not in like a nice order, but it's just really hard to kind of like do it without explaining my creative process. So yeah, I hope it makes sense anyway. So when it comes to the intro, I think we can start with the intro bass, which is basically this sound. And as you can see, it's the same notes from the main bass lines without the little short bass notes included. This is because I wanted to simplify it, and you don't really want to bring everything into the intro, but you want to still introduce it. So you can do this by simplifying the melodies or using softer sounds and so on, which is also what I'm doing here. So this bass, I believe, is just some kind of like a Reese bass. Yeah, it has like a gliding effect as well. And as you can see, it's using a filter, so it's not that harsh. And it also has a little bit of a sub, but it's not as powerful as standard sub bass. So yeah, I start with the intro bass pretty much all of the time, because you also want to have the intro strong, and you want to have it full in the whole spectrum when it comes to frequencies. So then I believe I added this kind of like an atmosphere. Again, it's probably just some kind of like a splice sample. I usually use like one-shots or background noises or vocal ad-libs and something like that. So I'll disable the FX and we can have a listen. Yeah, it's nice, super dreamy. If we listen to it on its own, the atmosphere, it's basically like the same chord or the same note looping over and over again. But when you add the root notes, it's gonna fit because it's like universal and it's doing a lot of difference. Yeah. And then I thought like, I think I was browsing through some presets and I found this cool one. And I just immediately knew it was gonna fit in the intro. So I took the lead melody I wrote and I used it in the intro with this simplified sound. I mean, not simplified, but like softer sound. And together sounds like this. Then I'm bringing the vocal shot here. So yeah, then we move on to next section of the intro, but before that, we can also cover the FX already. As you can see, I have shitloads of FX here, and these are all the FX. In some tracks I use even more, but yeah, I will kind of like come back to this a little bit later. I think there is like never enough of FX. Anyway, what I like to do is that I like to use some kind of like a FX, like a boom or a impact, which sounds like this. And then I like to use a rhythm from the beginning. It's also easier when you are playing the track out, because it's easier to beat match it and so on. But you can see I have a volume envelope here, so there's like the cymbal that's going louder and louder, and some sort of like a sweep or downlifter here. So then in the next section, again, I have there the vocal and so on, which I will turn on a little bit later. But anyway, what I have here is that I'm still playing the intro bass, as you can see. I also added a piano root notes. So that's giving it that nice darker feel and also filling up the spectrum. I'm also bringing the intro plug, which is eventually the same plug that I'm using here, but I think this one is not as powerful as in the second 16 bar, because it's being filtered and it's slowly opening up. This is really important. Use a lot of automations. It's gonna make a lot of difference. You can also see that the mid bass is coming here. I also have there some kind of like automation clips, which is I think like a cutoff automation and so on. I'm using different kind of atmosphere, some kind of like a pad here. Just really in the background, super dreamy, together with the rest of the sounds. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I also took just the first note of the main melody, I mean of the intro melody, and it's just there, and it's like it has a reverb and delay on it, so it's like it continues, and it's also filling it up. I think we can already enable the vocal. So this is actually a cappella from a pack, and it sounds so nice. When I heard this, actually I was finding for a vocal when I was making this track, and then I found this, and I knew it was a perfect match. What sucks when it comes to samples, acapellas, like a vocal samples, is that you are limited, and I didn't really have much of sounds or variations I could use. So this is like already consolidated version of it, because it's post-processed, and it's I changed the arrangement slightly to make it work for this track. But it sounds like this.
Find a way to leave. All you do is cheat. I can take the pain. I wonder if you regret it all. Every word you say brought me miles away. Find a way to leave. All you do is cheat. I can take the pain. You told me lies and I took them like a sweet mistake. Now I'm lost in space.
So that's basically like a pre of the main vocal, which is here. But anyway, I was really missing it in the intro as well. So what I like to do when I am limited with the sample and I don't have some ad-libs I can use is that I go on Splice and I search for some ad-libs from different packs in the same key. And I found these nice dreamy guys, and if we enable the rest of the FX, you'll hear how this sounds together, and you'll see, and you will hear that even when it's from different pack, different singer, is really matching nicely with the original acapella. Yeah, and what I also like to do is kind of like I call it tonal FX, which is basically an FX, but in a key. It's not like a sweep or whatever. It's like a vocal reverse or some melody reverse or something like that, and it sounds like this. And it also does a lot of good shit to your track. So this was the intro, and then we can jump into the build-up. So when it comes to the build-up, as you can see, the intro bass continues, but I'm taking it away here. The vocal continues, but it's like the main vocal.
How can I escape? I've been hiding from you, drowning in your blame. I don't know what to do.
And I'm also having the mid bass here, and also the lead, which is kind of like I consolidated it and I put there an EQ automation, so it's like slowly coming and something like this. So I'm slowly bringing the high frequencies. Then when it comes to the FX, bunch of downlifters, some kind of like an impact again, a huge uplifter, another uplifter in the same key, the vocal FX. So like this sort of tonal FX things. Filter drums, what I like to do a lot is that I just render the full drums I'm using in the drop, and I just put their EQ automation, so it's also slowly opening up. Other than that, I think this is a clap. And then later here is a snare like right before the drop, so it has like that slap before it drops, and it's like it's making a nice impact. So yeah, we can play the build up. I'll just loop it.
How can I escape? I've been hiding from you, drowning in your blame. I don't know what to do. How can I escape? I've been hiding from you, drowning in your blame. Like a sweet mistake, no mistake.
Yeah, so kind of like increasing the energy with the automation clips and so on. Another thing that I like to do is that I like to do a little like a volume automation. So you want to have at least 1 dB, at least minus 1 dB before the drop, usually even more, but yeah, it really depends. This will help them create like a better impact. I also have here like an Endless Smile automation clip, just to kind of like bring more reverb and wetness to everything before the track drops. So yeah, and together before the track drops, it sounds like this.
Like a sweet mistake, no
Yeah, sorry for the lagging. This project is huge, a lot of things, so I guess my Mac can't handle it. So yeah, this is literally everything about the build-up, and you can also see that the vocal is being taken away and the loop continues, and then later on I'm bringing the pre-build-up section again, but it's louder now. So when it comes to drums, a bunch of sounds. I believe some of these are from different projects of mine with some kind of like a post processing and so on. You can see like the kick is pretty long, really punchy. Then some sort of snares. This is the main one, I guess, and this is the layer. This is just like a noise or tail. Yeah. Then the standard Dancefloor DMB open hi-hat. Kind of like really in front, and yeah, it's really making the drums more energetic. Then I have here another hi-hat, which is not that hard, and it's used more often. Kind of like a more rolling shuffly vibe, and some kind of like a top loop sample. Sounds more like a ride, but yeah. So these are all the tops together. So yeah, I recommend like using bunch of different sounds, bunch of open and closed hi-hats. You can like also pan these guys, and yeah, you can also play around with the velocity, and yeah, these small details can make a huge difference. So this is how the drum sounds together. So yeah, punchy kicks, punchy kick, punchy snares. Just a little bit of variation here, as you can see. And then what I like to do in between the 16 bars, I like to just keep there just the snare and just some hi-hats, not all of them, but it's giving it a nice transition. Then it comes back. So when it comes to breakdown, as you can see just only by looking at this section and looking at this section, you can see it's pretty much the same. So what I like to do is that I take the intro stuff, put it in the breakdown, and that's the easiest way how you can make it. This is a little bit of a lazy way, but there's like nothing wrong about it. Sometimes it works better, sometimes it doesn't work. Reason why was that, as I said, I was limited with the acapella, and I think it just worked. So yeah, I just thought, like, why not? When it comes to the second drop, it's also the same. The only difference is that the last 16 bar, it's not the lead part again. It's actually the lead part is here actually 2 times in 2 16 bars, and the last section, the last 16 bar, is like a bit of an outro. So I'm using there the same melody as in the lead, but with the intro melody patch, and also the atmosphere from the intro and a bunch of ad-libs. And yeah, it just works so well. And you can, like, the reason why I've done it is that it's giving you that feel that the song is about to end, and it's not unexpected. So yeah, this is how it sounds. And the last thing I do, we can cover like the FX and some automations. So nothing super crazy here, really. Just as I said before, some impacts, then some sort of like a softer impacts, more of like a transitions, a bunch of downlifters, which I also duplicated here and reversed it to make it an uplifter and kind of like match the same sound. Bunch of the vocal or tonal effects, then some vocal effects, some swells. We can play all of these together. Yeah, so just small details, but it makes a lot of difference. Sometimes it takes ages to find the right sounds, but it's worth it. So yeah, it's really important to have a nice sound selection. And when it comes to the FX, automations, just sidechaining here, as you can see, the tops are being sidechained. So when kick and snare hits, they are making a space for them. Then sub has its own sidechain, because you can see the kick is super long, and you really want to have the sidechain envelope as long as the kick is, otherwise it's gonna clash together. And it has its own sidechain because I'm sidechaining the rest of the sounds to kick and snare as well, like literally everything. But if I use this long envelope for the rest of the sounds, it would be not good. So yeah, this is the way how you can kind of like avoid a huge volume jumpings. Then the volume automation we already covered, and yeah, just some kind of like the filterings, cutoff automations, and volume automations, and EQ automations, and that's pretty much it. So yeah, that's it. I hope you learned something. Please let me know in the comments what you want to see next, if you have any questions, and I'll see you next time.